Hello and welcome. This is class number 15 of the UPSC Mains Answer Writing Initiative. By now, if you have watched all these classes, I really hope that you are feeling much more confident in answer writing, that at least you have an idea when you see the question, how to approach it, what strategy to apply, what to write and what not to write. If not, then don't worry, keep watching these videos and you will be able to get much better at answer writing. If you want to get PDFs of these lectures that I do here, you can join the Telegram channel. The link I am giving in the description of this video. In the very first class of this series, as you know, we discussed about how to structure an answer, how to write the introduction part, the main body and the conclusion part. If you did not attend that class number 1, please do that. I am giving the link in the description of this video. The link is of the entire playlist. Go to the first class and you will be able to get that structure based talk that we had. Once you're done with that, then you can come back and then we can begin. Now every single day over here at 7 p.m. we try and answer a previous year question by the UPSC, see what are the points to consider, what to write, what not to write, and then also end up the class by giving you a homework so that you can also practice answer writing. Today again we have taken up a question that was asked by the UPSC in 2023. This question is from internal security. Those who want to practice simultaneously can pause this video, read the question, give yourselves about 30 seconds of time, write the answer and then come back to evaluate. You can evaluate yourself by seeing were you writing on the same lines or not. The question is, use of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, also called as drones, by our adversaries across the border to ferry arms, ammunitions, drugs, etc. is a serious threat to the internal security. Comment on the measures being taken to tackle this threat. So it's a question from internal security. They're asking you that nowadays we see drones being used in a lot of operations. What is it that we are doing to tackle this threat? Now, there are a few things that you have to understand here. First, we discussed this earlier as well. When the question is only asking about the solution, you should take a step ahead and write about the problem as well. For example, in this question, the question is only asking you what measures are being taken to tackle this threat. So you don't just write what the government is doing to tackle it. First, expand on the problem a bit. Expand on how the drones have become a menace for our internal security. Expand on the potential of drones being used for negative purposes. Write 2-3 points about that and then come to the part where you talk about what are the measures being taken. Second important thing, and I have noticed this when I check your answers now, a lot of people are not being able to understand the difference between measures being taken, this is one part of it, and then there is another part which says measures that can be taken, or suggest measures that can be taken. See, these are two very different things. Measures being taken means you have to tell what the government is already doing about it. What has the government done? Have they made a new committee? Have they initiated some new technology, given funds for research, etc.? So measures being taken means what the government is already doing. Don't give idea from your side. Just tell what the government is doing. On the other hand, when the question is saying what measures can be taken, this is where you have to suggest ideas from your own side. So please understand the difference between the two. When the question is suggest what measures can be taken, that means that you have to write from your own mind, not what the government is already doing. So understand the difference between the two. These differences of 1 or 2 words can make or break your entire answer. So please be very careful with this. So let's start. We'll write the introduction first. In the introduction here, some people can opt for giving definition of UAV. I would not really advise that. See, give definition of those technical phrases which are difficult. Unmanned aerial vehicle is a very basic term now. Everyone knows it is a drone. So I don't think there is a need in the introduction to define what are UAVs. The name itself says unmanned aerial vehicle, that is the entire definition. So my suggestion would be in these kind of questions, when the word that is given, the keyword is not that difficult or technical, don't define that. Rather in the introduction write something else. So since the question talks about India having this problem of drones being used for arms and ammunition and drugs also, so we will write about the fact that India's geographical location makes it very difficult for India to curtail these issues. So we'll start with India's proximity to Golden Crescent and Golden Triangles makes it vulnerable to different forces, especially with the emergence of the new technology. I hope all of you know what is Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle. So basically Golden Triangle is an area towards India's east, Golden Crescent an area towards India's west. These are two major drug producing areas. Drugs like heroin, cocaine, etc. are produced in large numbers. So Golden Crescent would be Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Golden Triangle would be countries such as Cambodia, Laos, then there is Vietnam, there is Thailand also. India is somewhere in between. So India basically gets in the path of this drug transportation. So this is what we have written in the introduction. Again, you can go ahead with definition of UAV, but I would not really suggest, I would not really be appreciating if you write this definition, because it's a very kiddish thing. Everyone knows what is this. Write definition when it is something that needs to be defined. In the main body, as I said, although it is asking you what measures has the government taken, but before coming to that, we will try and expand on the problem slightly to make it a more comprehensive answer. So we'll first try and write about what threats are being posed by the UAVs. We'll give a couple of examples also. Threats from the India-Pakistan border. They have been used to attack Jammu Kashmir Air Force Base recently. There have been news of these kind of weapons, etc. that may be utilized for other threats as well, such as on nuclear installation, Rashtrapati Bhavan, etc. Because around the world, there are multiple groups such as the Houthi rebels that are using this to attack oil rigs of Saudi Arabia. So basically, without the question asking you to describe the problem, we will describe the problem slightly, just 2-3 points, so that when we come to the measures taken by the government part, it makes sense. Now the measures taken by the government, again, it depends on how many you remember at the time of the examination. First, the government of India has been upgrading its technology, using anti-drone weapons, using radars, jammers, etc. nearby the border area, especially using anti-drone systems that the government of India has been importing using French technology. So again, not that you have to mention all these examples, depending on whatever you remember at that point of time. Military intelligence, we are patrolling the areas, especially nearby the border. We are erecting border fence. We are collaborating with multiple institutions across the country and outside. Ministry of Home Affairs has already established anti-rogue drone technology committee as well. Now, all these are things that you should have studied if you were reading internal security, because drones have become a major cause of concern, a major irritant, not just for India, but many countries around the world. Not just India, but many countries are now trying to see how can we actually fight against drones. The problem with drones is that it increases the cost of war. Please understand something. This is a similar kind of a problem that Israel faces against Palestine. So, for example, let's say Israel thinks that groups such as Hamas are shooting missiles towards Israel. Now, Israel is capable of intercepting those missiles, but the problem is the missile that Hamas is shooting will only cost them $10,000, and the missile that Israel uses to stop that may cost them millions of dollars. So the problem is when thousands of such cheap missiles are being used by Hamas, and to kill those missiles 100 times more money has to be spent by Israel. That increases the cost of war considerably. That is the problem with drones as well. These drones, some of them are so basic that they cost thousands of rupees, just thousands of rupees. All that they have to do is carry some drugs and drop on the other side. And in order to shoot them, if you use a missile or a weapon, you will be costing lakhs and crores of rupees just to shoot that thousands of rupees of drone. So that is a big problem which has not been resolved so far, that these things increase the cost of the war as well. We are collaborating with other governments like Israel that has mastered the drone technology. DRDO has come up with Nishant, which is designed for intelligence gathering over enemy territory. It is used for training, surveillance, artillery fire correction as well. Apart from that, we are also working on counter unmanned aircraft system strategy. That strategy will be to ensure that communication lines in the area where drones are expected to launch an attack, those are jammed, so that the drones are not able to communicate with the signals that are being sent to them from the other side of the border. These are some examples of measures that the government has taken. If you have more examples, if you read more about that, you can for sure quote those as well. And then we'll conclude it by saying that emergence of technology has always been a threat to internal security. We need to stay one step ahead. For that, the government has to have collaboration from private sector as well. This is a very generic conclusion that you will write. Again, keep these things in mind. When they are only asking you solutions, write about the problem as well. When they are only writing about or asking about the problem, write some solutions as well. I'm not saying write 50% of your answer on the thing that has not been asked, but at least write 20-25% of your words for that as well, so as to have a more holistic, much better answer for the examiner who is studying that. This was our question for the day. Now your homework is from Indian economy. Most of the unemployment in India is structural in nature. Examine the methodology adopted to compute unemployment in the country and suggest improvements. Unemployment is something that you read in detail about Indian economy, how to measure it, different types of unemployment issues. You have to write about that. You can, if you want, you can send me your answer as well. I'll be happy to give you feedback within a couple of days. Thank you so much for joining in. Do hit the subscribe button if you have not done so till now. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.